Yo, what's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Real Cowboys fans stand up. And Mike McCarthy just had his press conference, man. He's talking about everyone has a responsibility. And I think this will be a good case study to kind of go over a few things to prepare us for the season, man. So I dropped the video earlier today and I also dropped one last night. But I think this is going to be a kind of a good case study for you to kind of understand, all right, sometimes I take things out of context, or we might take things out of context when it comes to just being fandom, right? Because we're only digesting the information that we're receiving, whether that's from Twitter, whether that's from radio, or wherever. I think it's going to be a good case study. So let's go ahead and watch this directly for this press conference from Mike McCarthy, Big Mike at the podium.
Hottest coaches in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's David Moore. And David Moore, he always gets the first question right. And he's asking Mike McCarthy. He's on the NFL top 10 hottest coaches list, right beneath Andy Reid. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Salute to you, Mike. Big pimpin'. Player, man.
Tad Fiddle mentioned that. What can I say?
You were 6.
Okay, well, good.
He was 6. All right. There you go, Mike. Brush your shoulders off, Mike.
Bad news was it was behind Andy Reid, but you were
okay. Well.
Big Red. Shoot the Big Red.
Can't argue with the winner. So
no. When we've talked to you before, but when you at this stage of the all-season program where it's voluntary and you have to keep players missing for different reasons, whether it's contract or ceedee or some opportunities that come up with Micah. How much do you interact with them, and what do you ask of them to do when they're not here, or do you leave that to them and the position coaches, or how?
No, I mean.
So you see David Moore, right? He's asking about Micah not being at camp. Also mentioned ceedee, who's going through a contractual situation. So keep that nugget in mind, because we'll definitely come back to that.
At the end of the day, everybody has a responsibility. I mean, this is our jobs. Obviously, we have this period of time to do football activity, that's regulated. So, I mean, I don't want to say unfortunately, but 98% of our football team's been here, 100% of the time. So, we've accomplished a lot. Frankly, I mean, yesterday's practice was a barn burner, just as far as just the energy that the
good energy
receivers and the skill guys are putting into it. So we were just really cutting back today. So, but yeah, I mean, everybody has a responsibility, whether they're here or not here, to get what they need, because when we hit Oxnard, that's our one opportunity for real football, and that's the way we approach it. So yeah, I have confidence.
When we hit Oxnard, that is our time for real football, and that's how they approach it, right? So real football begins in Oxnard, not right now, in Oxnard. That's based off of Mike McCarthy and his comments at the podium.
And it's that everybody's going to be ready to go when we get there.
And you periodically check in with them just by text or
whatever. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So he's checking in?
Yeah, it's
checking in.
Clarence Hill, pick up.
Clarence.
I don't know. Can I take a few more? We'll come back.
That's a side. With Clarence, before we start talking, with Micah being back, how does he look? What has he missed? And what's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, Micah's looks to be in really good shape.
Micah's in really good shape.
It's a new defense, so we have work to do.
Got work to do.
How much could he take in? Did he have the playbook before, and how much could he do on his own? And how behind is he? I guess we'll ask.
Well, I think like anything, he's engaged.
He's engaged.
He'll be ready when it's time.
He'll be ready when it's time. He has confidence in that. Now, let me ask y'all this, right? Because if you go to the tweets, some of the tweets says Micah Parsons was not at OTA'S today, and Mike McCarthy seems to be upset about it. Now, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, right? But just kind of judging people, I'm around a lot of people. Does he seem upset to y'all? Does he seem upset, frustrated, flustered, pissed off that Micah Parsons isn't there? Not as of yet, but maybe that happens later in the interview. Let's keep watching.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. You mentioned after Micah's rookie year that his next step is, as a great player, is to bring guys along with him. Has he missed any opportunity to do that by not being around these last couple off seasons as much?
Well, I think anytime you have a chance to to be together, it's an opportunity to improve, whether it's in the mental realm.
Now think about what Todd Archer just said, right? Last couple of off seasons. So what Micah is doing is not new. He's done it before, right? So
the physical realm, which is limited obviously this time of year, but in the emotional connection and so forth. So, but it's a long year. Training camp is really the heightened focus for all that. But yeah, it's
training camp, which we're not at yet, is really the heightened focus for that, right? Now, I will agree with Mike McCarthy, right? If Micah is going to be the leader, right, the guy that's going to rally everybody and that everyone's going to just feed off of Micah, which I personally don't think Micah is the leader, and I doubt that will probably happen for a while until he becomes a made man in Dallas and gets that contract, right? But I do agree, right? If you're going to be the leader, you have to be there, right? Around the team, rain, sleet, or snow. Now, we do have a leader in Dak Prescott, and we see how that kind of pans out when it comes to the treatment of him. But as of right now, I agree with Mike McCarthy is that, if Mike is going to be that guy that he talked about on his podcast and stuff, some of these little stupid small things, voluntary things, you're going to have to do. But I understand why Micah Parsons currently isn't there.
It's definitely an opportunity that's been missed.
And is he here today? Will he be practicing today? Will we see him out there?
What was that quote you gave me? Walk in here.
What do volunteer?
He was talking about some historical quotes earlier. I saw it. You were here? Okay.
All right, is it some piss?
Dallas Morning News, with the decrease in the competitive aspects of what a spring program looks like today compared to years ago, do you find that you know less from an evaluation standpoint about the team you have going into camp than you would in the past? And so how does that?
Yeah,
good question.
No, that's true. I think like anything, there have been evaluations in my personal experience that they were not accurate based off of helmets and shorts over my time in this league. So the level of competitiveness being less than that period of time in helmets and shorts. So I mean, there's still a variable there. There's still a gap, and because at the end of the day, the padded practices are the most important practices in our training preparation that we have and carry the most weight, outside of the games. So as far as how you evaluate players, but yeah, I get it. It's different, but it's been going on. It's been going on for some time now. So
right. So Mike McCarthy is saying for y'all, the padded practice, which we all agree, right? When you're actually playing real football, that's what matters the most. And what people have to understand, a good friend of mine, talked to him all the time, right? Gerald McCoy. Y'all remember when Gerald McCoy was in Dallas, right? And he had the non-contact injury. He was just standing there, just doing a simple drill and tore his ACL and pretty much was the end of his career, right? Those things can happen, right? So if you're not under contract or you're still trying to negotiate a contract, sometimes you gotta think, football's a brutal sport. Injuries happen and things can subtly change with the wrong cut, with the wrong plant. So yeah, it is what it is.
With the weather Tuesday, power outage here, how did that affect and what adjustments had to be forced?
Well, a lot of guys made it in. We had some guys with travel issues and so forth, but we had the media day was part of the work Tuesday, so we were able to get some of that done and push the remainder of it to Wednesday. So, but football wise, we're in good shape.
All right,
John Michaud with The Athletic. The NFL Players Association is considering a proposal to possibly move back OTA'S and minicamp into basically July to give the guys a longer off season, and then just it would be more of a ramp up.
I think they should give players a longer off season, man.
Having that break in between the two.
Especially if they want to add on 18 games.
Beneficial, or do you think it's better off the way things are?
But Mike McCarthy hates it.
Well, you asked that with a straight face, John. It was impressive. It was. Yeah, I think it's just like anything. Hypotheticals are what they are. I mean, that's a hypothetical. I hope doesn't happen, but I think any coach would feel that way. But at the end of the day, I don't know what the proposal is. I don't know the nuts and bolts of it. So just like everything, the league and in the union, when they interact on it, there's a lot of studies.
They want more games,
a lot of
more
education
money,
and that goes into it. So I'd be curious into why. So. But
you know why, Mike?
Yeah.
More money.
In the current way it's structured,
more money, more games, more money.
Is it good to have that break? 6 weeks between the end of minicamp and training camp.
Well, the reality of it, I mean, when you look at all the variables in training your football team to get ready for a season, there is angulation in your training. Rest recovery is part of it. Mm-hmm. And the reality of the current state that we're in the CBA, you have to have the involvement and understanding.
And maybe I'm a geek, y'all, but I really like when Mike McCarthy just talks football, man. I like when he gets football questions and he just talks ball, man, because love him or hate him, man, he's one of the best football brains in the NFL, man. He's been around a long time and he's seen a lot, man. So that's the one thing I do like is listen to Mike McCarthy talk ball. Like if I ever had the opportunity, I would let crack a beer with Mike and just talk ball, you know what I'm saying, not be all the corporate and stuff. Because he's definitely a football
that your
savant.
Players are going to have external resources to train with, and we've talked on that time and time in here, and we're so fortunate for the city that we live in because our resources are abundant. I mean, you know, our resources are so abundant. You have a lot of NFL players from other teams that come here to train.
Facts.
So
we're actually going to have one of those trainers that the NFL players
really
pause.
You know, we're
actually going to have one of those trainers that the NFL players, quarterbacks fly in to train with every offseason in Dallas. He's going to be on the show next week, next Thursday. So you definitely want to tune in for that because it's going to be a fire show.
My time talking particularly to the rookies, you know, and just using the term car wash to make sure that they have things lined up because that's just the state that we're in. So whether it's 5 weeks, the timing of it, you know, to me, it's irrelevant because it's never going to be set up. I know in my lifetime, just the way this, you know, it's gone is that it's going to be a total internal, you know, training, you know, method for the players to do it at the organization. So there's always going to be externals and internals. So that's really what I focus on. So how they organize it and why they organize it, I'd be very curious to see their why.
Jane.
Coach, Jane Slater, NFL Network. I just wanted to circle back. So Micah Parsons is not here today.
I'm not doing attendance. Yeah, that's you know, we try to have some, you know, lightness to it. I'm not going to come up here and talk about one player, especially when, you know, there's 98% of the guys are here.
Bang. So if you're on Twitter and you read those comments, right? I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm talk about the 98% of the players that is here. I'm not going to talk about the one guy that's missing, even though it's two, right? What does that sound like to you, right? It sounds like Mike McCarthy is pissed off at Micah Parsons not being there, and it sounds frustrating because honestly, this morning when I read the tweets, that is what I thought, right? Like, damn, Mike is really pissed off about Micah not being there. Okay, so, you know, here we go, right? Drop the video, you know, check it out. But if you watch the press conference, what is Mike McCarthy really frustrated with? He's frustrated that he's answering the same damn question that he already answered earlier in the press conference. Mike McCarthy, he already said Micah Parsons isn't there, CeeDee Lamb is not there. It's the very first question from David Moore, right? He tried to get away from it, have some joke. Let's move on to football, talk about everything else. And then we're circling back to the same question about Micah Parsons. So this is where I feel like the case study is going to be extremely important, right? If you read it, if you read the tweet, like I posted right here, it sounds like Mike McCarthy is pissed off at Micah. And maybe internally he possibly is, right? But I highly doubt it, right? But if you watch the interview, if you listen to the interview, if you look at him, he's more frustrated with Jane for asking the same question that he already answered. And this is sometimes where Cowboys Nation, we get ourselves in trouble because we're just reading it and we're not getting the full context of the story. Then it has a ripple effects. It goes from here to the radio to this, to this, to this. And then now you're pissed off at Micah because you feel like Mike McCarthy's pissed off at Micah and CeeDee and this and that, where he's really just saying, bro, can we move on and talk about the 98% of the players that's already here at practice? Ask about Dak. Ask about Zeke. Ask about Tolbert. Ask about Ferg. Why are we asking the same repetitive questions over and over about the one or two players that's missing? In this case, it's one, Micah Parsons.
Assuming that he isn't here, how important is it for him to be around defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, given that he's, you know, needs to get to know his guys, team chemistry, etc.?
Definitely.
If any relationship that they had so far.
Yeah, I mean that interaction is going on, and so. And like I said, I feel confident we'll be.
And also, Mike and Jane have this weird snippiness about each other all the time. So it's kind of weird. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's always snippy back and forth.
Ready to go.
Garrett.
That's one more question, man.
Sports, Mike, Ezekiel Elliott back in the building.
Yeah, let's talk about Zeke.
How's his reacclimation process to your offense been, and what have you seen from him so far?
I mean, a lot of ways, it just feels like Zeke really never left. I mean, there's things that are different. So, I mean, he's had some new learning, schematically, language and things like that. But, the foundation of, what he's done and frankly, probably his experience in New England. So to learn another system. So, yeah, no, he's picked it up seamlessly. So looks good.
Yeah, Zeke is back. So, Cowboys Nation, that's it. I want to quickly break down this press conference, man. Go watch it on DallasCowboys.com if you want the full thing. But that's what I want to drop this video on, is sometimes you have to kind of dig and read between the lines, whether it's tweets, whether it's articles, find out what's really going on. Because like I said, when I read it, I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? But then when I watched the interview, I was like, bro, he was not mad at all. Like, it's just a typical Mike McCarthy interview, right? So it just is what it is, man. But it's your boy J Tuck. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151. Appreciate all the support, man. We're going to continue to rock, man. We're going to continue to do our content. And we're going to keep things moving this all season. But listen, Cowboys Nation, hold on. Hold on tight. Because we got a lot of damn turbulence. Because honestly, you know what I'm saying? We went through a whole press conference. Damn near, we're almost 10 minutes in. Not one Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's an afterthought. I mean, they asking about everybody else. All the Trey Lance tweets. We got a rocky all season, but we gonna be here every step of the way. So I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and make sure y'all reading between the lines. Peace.